Hey guys, today we're going to do a quick video on how to install the DPH skeleton stock and folding mechanism on a WASR 10 AK. First off, as with all firearms, we're going to make sure the firearm is clean and clear of any rounds. Next, we will strip the AK down to get everything out of the way. That's as far as we need to go on this particular one because we're just going to be messing with the stock today. Next step is we're going to remove the existing stock, and in this case it's going to be a Archangel stock, but there's two screws that you need to get rid of to do this. You can see one here and one here. Alright, now that you got your stock off, you're going to want to put your rifle in something fairly secure because we've got to remove this rear tang. Alright, so there's that. Next we're going to just bust out the little grinding edge and get this all thing nice and flush. That's pretty close there, so now I'm gonna get the receiver block that we're gonna be mounting in there and just start testing things for fitment to see where I need to remove some more metal from. So if you look here, the receiver block slides in the back, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this on video, but it's hitting the pistol grip nut holder. In this case, it's a little plastic piece from Tapco right here that you can see. Which it's not that big of a deal. It just helps hold the pistol grip nut a little more securely. So what I'm going to do is, and I can't get this out, it's hitting the top trunnion here. So what I'm going to do is I pushed the pistol grip nut out of the top, this piece here, the nut itself, out of the top, and then I'm just going to take off probably 1/4 of an inch off of this just plastic piece right here. Alright, so here's the pistol grip nut. Like I said, I just cut off like 1/4 of an inch and that slides out real easily. So now we can start testing fitment of the receiver block with everything out of the way. So you can see we're getting close. There's a little bit of a height issue right here. So we're going to trim some material off of that, and then it looks like everything else should line up pretty easily, and you can see the receiver block just slides in here. It's nice and flush, but it's hanging up a tiny bit on this bit here. So we'll just smooth that out. Alright, now that we got the receiver block mounted nice and flush in here, we'll start looking at the spacing needed for installing the 4 screws, 2 on either side of the receiver block. Alright guys, for this one, I just want to hold your receiver block nice and flush, make sure your height is correct, and just make marks with the receiver. Careful not to ding up the threads inside your actual receiver block. You'll go ahead and use those in a minute. Alright, so we got two pretty faint marks, so I'm going to mark them with a Sharpie and then I will start drilling. Alright, there's the first side. We'll flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, on my particular rifle, the optics mount right down here is just barely protruding too far. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit off with my Dremel. Alright, now that you got your holes all done in both sides of the receiver, test fit all your screws. That way you know everything lines up right, everything's can be nice and snug. And then at the end we'll obviously tighten everything down and put a little bit of Loctite on these screws. One thing I forgot to show outside is you're going to also have to trim this the pistol grip nut holder on the sides as well. If you look here, it needs to fit nicely into that little slot, and mine was just a hair too big. No big deal. I just trimmed on the side with the Dremel as well on both sides, and then again on the bottom like I showed you earlier. So then pistol grip nut fits in there all nicely, and obviously before you know, we Loctite this all into the receiver and all that, you want to make sure you get this guy back inside there. Also guys, just another reminder, before you put the receiver block for the final install into your receiver, you will want to put your nut in here first, if I can get it to go in there, because you won't be able to access this once you have those other four bolts in. So get your nut in there, and that's what you use to mount through the top trunnion with this screw here. And then also, if you weren't planning on it, I know it's an AK, but you'll definitely want to go through here and just clean out all those little metal shavings with some compressed air. Alright, just a reminder again, before you Loctite these screws in there for final installation, you'll want to clean the metal bits out of here. Make sure you get your pistol grip back on there and installed. And then there's just 5 screws, 1 in the top, 2 on each side of the receiver, and then you're 90% of the way there. All that's left after this is to bolt the folding mechanism on and then bolt the stock on. So let's get to it. Alright, so that's the 5 bolts in. I'm just going to go around and snug them all evenly now. And like I said, you are 90% of the way there. Okay, the next step is going to be to install the folding mechanism onto the block. You have 2 different height options for that. I'm going to use the higher one because I have optics on my AK, a little strike fire sight. I'm just going to test fit first, obviously, and then I will go back and once I get everything set up, I'll go back and put a little bit of Loctite on each of these. Alright guys, the last step before reinstalling or redoing this with Locktite is going to be installing the stock. So we'll get that on there, and then we'll go back and loosen these 4 screws that we just put in, and we'll install them using Locktite, and that'll be us complete. Okay, the final step's going to be just take out these screws one at a time and put a little bit of Loctite on there, and then you are good to go. Like I said, I used the higher screw in the receiver block because I have a Vortex strike fire that I put on this particular rifle. I'm glad I did. Using the higher screw also gave me a really nice cheek weld right off the bat for the irons as well. Alright, the final 2 screws on this project, guys. You'll see that I'm running stainless screws on here, and kind of disappointed in DPH. I didn't receive any screws with the folding mechanism, so I had to go to Home Depot and get some, and then the screws that they sent with the stock were much too long, which they seem for much too long for using with the folding mechanism. They are probably perfect for if you were just running straight to the receiver block and not using a folder, but I ordered it as a kit, so I figured I expected to get the right hardware. I did not. Not that big of a deal. It only cost me $2 for these, but I would have liked to get it all done in one day. I also did not receive the actual buttstock pad from DPH with this stock. I emailed him about it. I'm waiting to hear back. According to the picture, there's a buttstock pad, and in the description they do not say, or they don't specify at least, that it doesn't come with one, so I was expecting one. I guess just because it was in the picture, I figured it comes with it. Again, we'll wait to hear what he says about that. If not, then I'll have to order the actual buttstock pad from Ace as well, which I'll probably end up ordering that cheek riser that I was talking about anyways. So it's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice if he would have specified either way that it does or does not come with it. So we'll see. As you can see here, there's actually a little bit of play. Nothing on anything that I've installed, but it looks like there's a little bit of play in the actual stock itself where it attaches here. So that's actually kind of disappointing. I would have liked that to be a lot snugger. We'll see. I'll mess with it, see if I can get it to tighten down. It looks like it's just held together with a push pin in here, so maybe I can put something inside there to get that tightened up. But there it is, guys. There is the DPH skeleton stock with folding mechanism, and all that attaches to the receiver block that we all did. So not a terribly difficult project. If you have a couple tools, you know, the Dremel, screw gun with a titanium bit to punch the receiver, and a little bit of Loctite. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments, but it's a pretty straightforward install, and I know I'm going to be super happy with it, and I hope you guys are too. Thanks.